The Marvel Cinematic Universe has a lot of issues, one of which being the lack of comic. What's up? It's part 2. Roll the intro. Immense success of Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, Jon Favreau and Marvel Studios immediately started working on a sequel to Iron Man, which eventually became the complicated Iron Man 2. You've probably seen a couple video essays on this. This movie was rushed and studio mandated, which had a detriment to the final film. The villains are underutilized. In the original concept art, there was so many ideas for other villains like the Crimson Dynamo and way more intricate designs for all of our characters. The changes that we're going to make to this movie are going to be Ivan Vanko will not be Whiplash. He will be Crimson Dynamo throughout the entire film. Now, I know that whips with electricity running through them are pretty sweet, but I think a Russian red version of Iron Man with the power to control electricity is kinda cooler. And the way we're gonna explain the electricity thing is that Ivan's dad made the arc reactor, while his arc reactor instead controls electricity. So he can launch electricity like the whips and turn stuff on and off, including Iron Man's suit before it gets a new element. And about that new element, we're gonna make the arc reactor poisoning a lot more important, but we're gonna blend it in with the alcoholism, so the chlorophyll he drinks will be replaced with booze and alcohol to take the edge off, so we can get a lot more of the demon in the bottle stuff that they did in scenes like this. The third change we're gonna make is we're gonna swap Elon Musk for Reed Richards, for obvious reasons. The next change we're gonna make is we're gonna swap this guy right here, the guy who takes a look at the War Machine armor, for General Ross. And the final change we're gonna make is that Black Widow will originally have a black wig and a purple dress, just so we can get that classic comic outfit. She's gonna have these alternate props they made for the classic belt and the classic bracelets, just because they're perfect. And this part of the show isn't a change, it's just something we really want to talk about. In this part of the show, we're going to do something we call the map rant, where we're going to talk about 2 maps in the background of a scene in Iron Man 2. What you might already know is that on this map is the location where Wakanda is in the Marvel Universe and where Atlantis is the Marvel Universe. What you might not know is other points on this map and where they point in the Marvel Universe. On the northern part of the map is a point in Eastern Europe that lines to the location of Doctor Doom's home, Latveria. Another point in this map pointing right above the US, or in real life, Alberta, Canada. Who is from Alberta, Canada? The Wolverine. They're pointing towards the Wolverine. That's the end of the map round. On to the next movie. In 1994, Troma Entertainment, the makers behind Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, and Frankenhooker, decided to make the Fantastic Four. Now, this does seem like kind of a weird choice to get the kings of boobs and gore to make the family-friendly Fantastic Four, but it turned out perfect. The story and action are more enjoyable than the 2005, 2007, and 2015 versions. It is the most comic accurate and best Fantastic Four film to date. Maybe just ignore the terrible VFX and the FF's costumes, and the fact that the mole man is named the Jeweler. And you might be saying, wait, why haven't I seen this? Well, it was never released to the public. If you want to have more detail on this, go watch the amazing documentary behind it, Doomed, and watch the movie. Trust me, it is good. And what we want to do in our universe is tell a similar story in a modern, early MCU lens, inspired by Fantastic Four mythos, Fantastic Four issue 1, Fantastic Four issue 89 for the villain, and for the plot, Fantastic Four season 1. So, let's get into the plot. We start out with the scene of Harvey Elder teaching a classroom before a note is tossed at his head saying, "Moleman." We then cut to him in the Arctic finding a tunnel filled with a bunch of monsters. Roll the studio vanity card. Cut to NASA agent Reed Richards finding a cosmic storm before recruiting his family onto his mission to space. And then we get a little debriefing and training scene before they get in their rocket and go to space. We then have them relaxing in space as Johnny is flying outside the rocket. Ben goes to get him. The cosmic storm arrives earlier than they thought, leading them to all get their powers and fly the ship back to Earth. They crash land in Brazil. They all start experiencing their fantastic powers for the first time. They spend the night there in a campfire. SHIELD vans swarm the forest as Agent Coulson debriefs the Fantastic Four on their powers. They convince SHIELD to let them go. Reed, Sue, and Johnny are now at the Baxter building, but the Thing has left and is now homeless on the streets. He steps into a bar and meets Alicia Masters. After this makes him happy, he goes to rejoin the Fantastic Four and they squash all their beefs. And then they go to save people from an earthquake. Reed tells Sue to stay behind until the final hour of the fight where she saves them all. And then they do an interview where Johnny calls them the Fearsome Four. Then we cut to them in the Baxter building getting their costumes and talking about their code names. And we get the whole Norm Macdonald Mr. Fantastic bit. And then they do a press conference where they talk about their new names, and their name is the Fantastic Four as they announce Alicia Masters' pottery exhibition at the Baxter building before going off and dealing with their crazy fame. Cut to the ceramics exhibition where they're all hanging out, but at the same time, Harvey Elder, now the Moleman, is going around sneaking to the New York sewer system after he previously made all those earthquakes. At this charity exhibition, Reed proposes to Sue, and then a giant monster comes out of the New York streets, leading the Fantastic Four to go down to the street and fight the monster. So they do an epic fight with the monster. Moleman comes out of the ground, and Sue Storm talks him down, telling them all that he isn't villainous, just misunderstood. After this, we cut to Reed and Sue's wedding, where it goes off without a hitch, and there, Nick Fury hands them a paper about the Avengers Initiative. When they look at it, and Johnny Storm lights it ablaze, saying, "We have our own team, we don't need yours." After this is a Doctor Doom post-credit scene. Reed finds out that it was all a plot from the beginning, orchestrated by Victor Von Doom. That's the end of the movie, but every movie does have a cast, so let's give ours. Reed Richards, the smartest man alive, but the hardest man to cast. There have been 4 versions of Reed Richards in live action, and only one of them has really been good. Ian Griffith and Miles Teller never really gave off the comedic vibes meant for the character to succeed as Reed Richards. And next was John Krasinski in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which was cool to see, but he didn't really pull it off that well. And next is about to be Pedro Pascal, which is okay casting. I loved that one Nicolas Cage movie he was in, and I think it's gonna be pretty fun to see him, but he just doesn't scream Reed Richards to me, but I think our cast does. Our choice for Reed Richards is Billy Crudup. You might recognize this name from Watchmen, where he played the smartest man alive, who ignores his wife because he's too overworked. And if that isn't Reed Richards, I don't know what is. Or Hello Tomorrow, where he played a father who has deep regrets with his family and does his best to change it. Or Alien Covenant, where he plays a space captain who uses his ego and intelligence to go to space when the rest of his family doesn't want to. Put those all together, plus Billy Crudup's normal demeanor, and you have a perfect live-action Reed Richards. Whilst Reed is the mind, Sue Storm is the heart of the Fantastic Four. The glue that keeps them all together, for lack of a better word, the mom of the group. The castings in the past for Sue Storm are bad. Jessica Alba never really got the chance to shine in the role and not really being her own character. And I'm not kidding when I say Kate Mara had 0 emotion in the role. And Rebecca Stabb honestly killed it, and I'm really excited to see what Vanessa Kirby does in the role. Our choice seems a bit more perfect. Our choice is Malin Ackerman. In Watchmen, she played a woman whose husband was so overworked saving the world that he ignored her, so much that she contemplated cheating on him. And Trophy Wife, where she plays a trophy wife, forced into that mother role and being the glue that keeps them all on together really fast and has to deal with it with little to any help. Also in Watchmen, she plays a vigilante who is extremely badass. Throw that all together and you have a perfect live-action Sue Storm. Johnny Storm, the young, brash, impulsive member of the Fantastic Four. There have been many casts of Johnny Storm in the past, and they have all been pretty good, but Chris Evans was amazing, Michael B. Jordan was pretty good, the guy from the 90s movie was spot on, and Joseph Quinn just looks absolutely terrible in the role. Like, that's some of the worst casting I've ever seen. But our personal fan cast is Zac Efron. I mean, like, come on, this dude is perfect for Johnny Storm. Like, just watch Baywatch, that's all I'm gonna say. So Zac Efron as Johnny Storm. Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. He's the fun uncle of the group, but he's also the one with the most baggage. This is the hardest one to cast, and there have been a couple good castings and a couple bad castings. Michael Bailey Smith was amazing, and he was a personal favorite of Stan Lee, but he's way too old for our cast. Michael Chiklis was really good, but he just didn't convey Ben Grimm. He conveyed The Thing, but not Ben Grimm. The guy from Fan4stick just was awful, and I'm really excited for Yvonne Ma in the new Fantastic Four. I've seen him in The Bear, and that is like perfect casting of him as Ben Grimm, but he's too young. So for our movie, we chose Brendan Fraser. It might seem like an odd choice, but the role he played in Doom Patrol was literally The Thing. And with the whale, he got the emotion. So Brendan Fraser as our Thing. So yeah, on to the outro. Hey, if you guys liked that video, we would really appreciate it if you subscribe so you guys can see what part 3 will eventually be. It's gonna be really exciting. It's going to be the Mighty Thor and Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, thanks for watching.